Today we're going to go ahead and top work this apple tree. This is my neighbor's probably red delicious. We don't know for sure, but whatever it is, it's a horrible apple. Or, well, I should really say it just doesn't. It's not a good apple for this location. Doesn't seem to really give us good fruit. So we're going to top work it. We've already done 3 branches here. You can see that we've actually cut off entire branches, and we've top worked them already with. We're doing basically what are called bark grafts. So there's 3 of them right here, and I can show you what the branches are that we've taken off. If you take a look at these babies right here, you can see that we're being really aggressive, and we're literally taking this entire tree down. You can see that these branches, this is really old. They've never really been pruned properly. So we're actually doing the apple tree a favor by grafting over to some new varieties. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and get started with the grafting. For grafting, first thing we're going to need is a knife. So I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to go ahead and do the cuts on the bark. So the way you do the bark grafts is really simple. If you take a look over here, you can see that we have you can see the layer of bark on top here. If you look at the view from the very top, you see that there's a little, maybe this is a 1/4 inch layer of bark. What we're going to do is we're going to cut into the bark. We're going to make one cut like this, and then we're going to basically do a V shape. And the idea is to actually make the V shape smaller than the scion that we're going to put in here, because the scion really has got to basically squeeze in and get pushed in really, really tightly. So right now we're basically going to pop out the bark like this, and I'm actually going to try to pop out a little bit of the wood as well. Then we're going to go back and we're going to pick the scion that we want to graft. In this case, we're going to graft an apple called Tropic Beauty. That's going to be the apple that we're going to actually put onto the tree. The bigger pieces are actually the better pieces. So something like this, a nice big piece. And so what we're going to do is over here is I'm going to show you how I'm going to basically cut off a V shape on the bark. On the scion like this. And I'm going to cut the back off so that it's actually approximately the thickness of the bark. I'm going to put my knife away so I don't injure myself, and I'm going to go ahead and splice this guy in. I'm going to push as hard as I can so it's really tight in there. You can see right here it's just really, really squeezed. It is nice and tight. So that's one right here. And then, just to be safe, because we have we have one tree with, we're going to make 3. We're actually going to make 3 of these guys, because what we want is we want to make sure that we succeed. So it's actually important we're going to do a second piece here. We're going to do the same thing again. Cut this off. Cut the layer, and then we're going to put this one over on this side and do the same thing. And we're going to pop out this piece, and you can see that this one just basically slides in, but we got to make it just big enough so we essentially have to take out a little bit of the wood in there as well, and give this guy plenty of space to literally squeeze in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to literally push this down in here. And the idea behind pushing it in is that we want the bark to literally push up against it. Same thing here. I'm not too happy with this guy. We're going to re-squeeze this guy in a little bit. Okay. So now we have 2, and I'm going to put a 3rd one over here. We're going to get one more piece of Tropic Beauty apple. And we're going to go ahead, and this one's a little smaller, so this time we're actually going to make a smaller incision. Pop this guy out, and then this one is just going to get grafted like this. Cut the back off and push this guy in like this. Okay, so now this is nice and tight. There's 3 pieces on here. The next step, this isn't really needed to get the graft to take because they're nice and tight by themselves. But the problem is people come in here, gardeners come in here and clean up, and people might bump into them, animals might bump into them. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to put tape around it. This is nice, very inexpensive, $2.50 a roll tape. This is basically the nursery tape, which is used to tie plants up against poles and stakes. Don't ever waste your money with grafting tape. You don't need grafting tapes to do grafts. All you need is a nice elastic nursery tape. I suppose somebody could take this tape and relabel it as grafting tape and charge you a premium for it, but that's not what you want to do. So we got this down here, and now it's nice and tight. It's nice and elastic. So now basically these guys are nice and tight. They're not going anywhere. You can see, you can move them around. It's perfect. So this has a pretty good chance to take. So the last step is we want to use parafilm, which is this stuff. You can actually buy this specially made for grafting. Of course, you'll pay $20 more because somebody decided to recut it and put the label on it, grafting parafilm tape. This is the stuff you get from chemistry lab. A roll like this is $30 and it'll last you for years because there's tons of stuff in here. So, and then you don't have to worry about how much you use either. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cover each individual piece like this, make them nice and protected. The idea here is we don't want it's pretty late in spring already. It's not exactly going to be cool anymore. It might actually get quite warm around here. We're on a south-facing slope, so we're going to go ahead and take all this parafilm and plop it on here. And just to be safe, and so the tree doesn't really desiccate, because we're really giving it a good chop, is we're going to go ahead and actually seal the tree for the time being too. This isn't really needed necessarily. You're going to want to take this off as soon as the barks take, so this can the scions take, so that the bark can dry up and heal. It's not going to form a good callus if you keep that stuff on here, but it's just temporary to keep it from drying out. So you just want to make sure that everything's nicely sealed, especially around the grafts. And there we are. There we go. Last but not least, the most important step, labels. If you graft something and you forget what it is, that's not a good idea. So we're going to go ahead and label this guy. This apple's called Tropic Beauty. And I use these metal labels. This is usually enough. Tropic. And so you go ahead and put the label on here, and we are done. The graft is completed. Now, if these grafts fail for some reason, no big deal. What's going to happen is that this guy's going to put out water shoots, and next year the water shoots are actually a lot easier to graft than these bark grafts. But if you wait for water shoots, you're waiting. You lose a year. So this way, what we've done is we've already put in the bark grafts, and now these guys don't have any energy. They don't have anywhere to put their energy. So all the energy is actually going to go into these little guys, and they're going to shoot like crazy. We're going to easily get 2-3 feet of growth in all of these guys within this year alone, provided this guy gets good fertilizer. If you look at the size of the trunk, you can see it's going to want to really push energy. The other thing to note is you see right here, here's a water shoot coming out already. This guy's really going to take off because of these guys. My recommendation is to let it go till the fall. If these guys have taken well, maybe in the middle of the summer you can take a look, then you cut this guy off because you know that these guys are taking. So that's it. That's the bark graft. That's all we've got for today.